Okay. So I'll start recording. Constant, you don't need OBS. We can just record from GC. Okay, if you're recording, fine. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess let's get started. I guess Howell can't talk, so I'll go ahead and go. So we were planning on releasing the new version of the Half API suite last week, but we ran into one problem during our final production testing, where we were having some problems with Postgres died once, and we weren't sure why. So we were using 17, so we decided to upgrade to Postgres 17.4 just in case it was some bug that got fixed there. We are also looking at other causes for the problem. We eventually kind of located it, and it had something to do with this package called a query limiter that's not actually effectively used by anything, but it's for the future, that allows you to basically set how long a query will run before it times out under too much resource usage. And so we had timeouts enabled. There's two ways to do timeouts. You can do query timeouts using that tool, and you can also just use it during the standard Postgres timeout mechanism. And we were effectively using both. So we were spent a little time trying to figure out which one was causing the problem, and we did finally trace it down that it was just the query limiter that was causing the memory corruption. So we disabled that. But in the meantime, we'd already upgraded to Postgres 17.4, and that also required us to upgrade to Ubuntu 24. And so rather than go back, we would started doing. It took us some work to get Ubuntu 20 getting transitioning to Ubuntu 24. So rather than go back at that point, we decided to just go ahead and move everything, all our development environments, from 22 to 24, since we were kind of mid-process. So that's mainly why we didn't release last week, because it took a while to get took longer than I expected, really, to get all this stuff ported to 24. The primary reason for it was kind of a pain was in 24 they upgraded the version of Python to Python 3.12, and so that required a decent number of. We used Python for a lot of the tools. Yeah, is Ubuntu the new LTS? There is, yeah. I mean, you're talking about 24.04. Yeah, that's what we're using. Yeah, not 24.10, 24.04.
And it's already 1 year old, so it's not.
Yeah, it's not exactly that new at this point, but yeah. In fact, actually, I'm kind of looking forward, honestly, to 25 because there's several, I think, features that will be really useful for half in 25.
I don't like. I mean, the stable is 24, then 26, but before like the next release, I think in a year we'll have the next stable.
We're switching in September. Because that'll allow us to get 20. That'll allow us to get 25 and get Postgres 18, and those have some fairly substantial improvements for NVMe I/O. So really, really substantial improvements. We'll definitely see the difference. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so all that caused us to delay. So we've been testing over the weekend, and Noble Numbat. Okay. Anyways, so we've been testing over the weekend, and we'll be testing some more today because we just replayed. Oh, awesome, Howell, that's good. Well, you can go next. So we've replayed Hive Mind in half now. It takes about 3 days for the whole process, and so today we'll be testing. We'll be sending real world traffic to the latest release. We've actually got two versions I'm testing, and I'm still undecided which one to release. There's a slightly newer one, but it's slightly less tested. Okay, so that's what they guessed that it might be your internet that was the problem. So anyways, but we'll see which one actually gets released at the end. I'm kind of tempted to release the slightly newer version because it has some improvements for follows, for blacklists especially, and that's been kind of a issue that people wanted to be able to use the official blacklists that are available on the blockchain. But there were some performance issues when we had lots of very large blacklists. So it'd be good to get that in. And it also we lowered the load a little bit that HiveMind places just from indexing. So we'll see. What else? We've been working on optimizing HiveMind some. Specifically, we've been testing a block allocator for the memory allocation. So up until now, we've been using just the standard memory allocator. And we've always kind of known that if some of the objects, since they're fixed size, we could use a block allocator and get better performance. And I was always pretty sure it'd be pretty decent improvement in performance. And so we've been testing that. This won't be in the release that's coming up, but it'll be in the one after. And it's just to give you an idea of the speed up, we're seeing a 15% speed up in replays and that's when the shared memory file is in memory. If your shared memory file is on disk, it's even better. It also reduces the amount of allocated memory because there's less overhead, less fragmentation with the block allocator. So we cut out 1 gig of memory compared to regular usage for Hive-D, so which is pretty substantial. We've also made improvements to the snapshot processing and the replay commands. So let's see what else. And then on the half side, well, I already mentioned we did the Ubuntu 24 upgrade. We've also extended the database schema to provide more information about the current state of the half node. We've updated the documentation some. And then on the half app side, we've changed several of the REST APIs. Previously they were just returning just sort of JSON as the return value types, and now they're actually Postgres based data types essentially that are returned. So that it's sort of more it's a more strict typing basically on the return types than previous. And then on other things we did, we made some improvements to balance tracker in terms of the data that's available for data aggregation over a year period. That's primarily the balance tracker part. We also added tests for more tests for reputation tracker. And on the Block Explorer side, we added a new block API that was needed for the Block Explorer user interface. And let's see what else. HiveMind. Okay, so I mentioned one thing I'm not sure if we're going to get in yet, which is a notification cache update optimization. Basically, the way HiveMind processed each block, it had to go back and look at the last 90 days worth of blocks in order to update notifications. And that basically took half a second, which is fairly good amount of time in a 3-second block interval. So basically, we're changing that logic so that now that notification table gets updated on a block by block basis. So basically drop the load by, a factor of like 100. Let's see. And we also made a few health check fixes that we found just this weekend when we were doing our final testing of HiveMind. So that's pretty much on the half API node side. So I think we're going to swap our production server over to it the next, probably tomorrow, I would suppose. And we've also got, I believe, I got a message from Gandalf that he says the Mirror API endpoint is now up. Is that correct, Gandalf?
Yes, it's already running, and of course, block production is there since like a few days.
And this is the RC2, right? You're running RC.
Yes.
Okay. Can you post a link to that after the meeting in the core dev channel?
Like what link to the API node? I mean, it's pretty much the same as was in my last post. So
okay. Well, as long as I'm just not sure how many people know where that's at right off the end.
I was supposed to write a post about that, but of course, I had to choose whether to write a post or just do it.
Have the API node up. Yeah, better to have the API node up than have the post up. I'll give you that. Let's see. Yes, the classic dev trade-off: documentation or the code. So another things we've been working on, Wax. There's been quite a few changes to Wax lately. We've got support for external signature providers like Keychain now. So you basically can use Keychain to sign the transactions that have been created by Wax. We also implemented support for MetaMask as a signature provider. And it says, the notes I have says we're waiting for security audit verification to make it officially supported by MetaMask, but I guess it works now. It says also Hive has been included in some slip. So we're now in that list of people who are supporting MetaMask, I guess. Okay, thanks, Gandalf. We have a question there. We have a draft Python. That's probably not something that I think Bartek would probably be the one to look that over, and we can probably better to talk about that after the main meeting, but we'll see. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to review it. I don't know if Bartek ever did, but I know he's been pretty busy last couple of days.
Actually, I saw, of course, such documentation prepared for Python, but maybe I should answer in the merge request. But we rather prefer to make such part of documentation dynamically generated to the wiki in similar way as it is done for TypeScript. And that's we probably would like to rather choose some good framework to generate such wiki documentation from code annotations and
I was
have
going to say, is there possible to do that just from like the Python whatever the docs things? Though I forget what they're called, doc strings.
Yes, of course. And that strings will be added to the code, but we need to select first a tool which will be able to parse it correctly.
Right.
And guys had doubts in selection of that. So
okay,
that's
so
why there
you
is
mean there's
not
a couple
yet
that they're
such.
trying to choose from, or the doubts?
Yes, the biggest issue is support is good support for GitLab media wiki media format.
Okay.
And that's why we didn't fix the comments yet.
Got it. Okay, so let's see what else. Okay, so we've also got a note here, which I don't know much about this one, but it says we prepared a dedicated service called Hive Bridge, providing basic features such as signing and encrypting. Services available at all to OpenHive.network. So can you explain a little bit more what this Hive Bridge is, Bartek? Because it's not totally clear to me.
Sure. Actually, the reason why we created it was integration to MetaMask, where we needed to show some easy process for creation of account. And while designing it, we get idea to prepare some service which also provides some basic capabilities to sign transactions, to perform any buffer encryptions, and this way will offer some more features than regular account creation. And by that, this service offers to request account creation and generate some link, and that part is used directly by MetaMask integration process. So some external user can, by using MetaMask Flow, generate some link containing request to create account and send this link to his friend which
Okay, so
has account on Hive.
this
And
creates
then
basically a transaction to sign
yes,
to
exactly.
create an account, and you can
Yeah,
send it to your friend, and they can
yes,
sign it and basically pay for the
yes,
account. Okay.
yes. And that friend can then open this link, which again leads to the same service, but of course this friend will have some wallet already associated to it and can sign it and broadcast transactions. So I hope it will be easy on board. It make onboarding to Hive much more easier, especially when MetaMask integration
So what's the
official.
sending mechanism? Is it email or what's the sending mechanism?
You can say this, send this link as you want. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. You're just getting the link to send to
Okay. So
someone.
you basically it's just a URL and you can send it
Yes,
through any
exactly,
mechanism. Okay, got it.
exactly.
Okay. And I guess finally we have the first working Python version of Wax, but it says API support is still limited, but I guess that means we have some now. What API support is
Yes,
available?
yes, we have some and really basic, actually, broadcast transaction get dynamic global properties. Most calls only internally used, but that is sufficient to create transaction, broadcast it, and add some operations to that.
Okay, so I've got a question about that.
We are working on good support for API calls and implement it to similar way as this is done in TypeScript.
Okay,
And
you
I
saw my
hope
question coming. So the plan is we're going to have a script that should be able to generate these automatically.
yes, exactly. And very good support of IDEs to have IntelliSense showing what we can call and of course present types of arguments and responses.
Okay, sounds good. So I guess I assume that shouldn't probably take too long, honestly. Are we going to use what's going to be used to generate this? Do we know if we're going to do it in Python or JavaScript? The script, I'm just kind of curious. I don't know if we decided on that point.
Actually, first we need to have working prototype where definition of API will be written by hand, and that part is most important for
So
now.
you mean just the different types? Because obviously we have some already. You said we have some API support, but so you're just trying to come up with a good prototype definition that'll fit across all the different
yes,
types of API calls.
And we have such types. They will be generated from Swagger JSONs in the same way as this is done for REST APIs right now in TypeScript.
Mm-hmm.
And I think next we can prepare similar Swagger JSONs for JSON RPC calls of old APIs in Hive, and also generate such API calls for them.
Okay.
Lately done improvements in type support in REST APIs also improve such process, because instead of raw JSON types, you will have correct and strict types
right, defined in the open API, so that it'll be clear when it goes to generate.
Exactly.
Okay. I guess we're probably going to just use the same script we've already got, right? It should be a matter of just modifying that script to generate.
Yes, I hope it will be possible. The question is still how smart is Python to build such runtime structure and support IntelliSense, etc. Because this is biggest problem as we discussed it last week.
Okay. Okay, and then I guess finally on the product side, we've continued to work on Denser. We've got support for communities now, and as part of since Denser is written using Wax, we've also got keychain signing in Denser now. So I guess we're just doing the final things to get ready for a release there. It should be, I guess, just about any time now. Should be ready, I suppose. So anyways, long story short, or maybe not so short, we'll be doing the official release of the half API node suite this week. And basically just holding off a little bit until I figure out which of the two versions of HiveMind that I want to actually finally release based on how the testing goes. So that's about it from our side. How you want to go next?
Please just a moment.
Sure.
Quick advertisement. Please use MirrorNet. Even though the API Hive blog will be running RC2 version on the MirrorNet, there is already activated hardfork 28. So you can see ahead of time how it will behave with new rules. So it's essential to figure out if it works for you and to figure out potential bugs. Hopefully none, but we never know.
No, good point. How?
All right, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so this month has been mostly adding some finishing touches to Rosetta/Mesh on top of checking HiveMind. Rosetta itself, it's mostly some straight improvements to performance because the way the Docker file was generated was not optimal as it could be, and basically it want to do a whole thing.
You're kind of breaking up.
On the HiveMind front, I see the PR to. I'm going to slowly. On the HiveMind front, I've made a request to change some settings to JSON-B so that saves performance when setting, and
Yeah, I don't know what we can do. I guess.
We probably lost him. I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
I think he's there. He
GCC
just saw
is
the messages that he
very
realizes he
very
can't be heard.
slow
Yeah.
uplink for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
When you're recording, does the writing, the chat side also show up in the recording?
I don't know if it does or not, but he can put it in afterwards, I guess, or we can.
Okay.
Okay. I guess anyone else want to go? Big Farhat, you want to report next?
Yeah, sure. All right, guys. So we'll give some updates on our work on Block Explorer. So I actually shared a post. It's been a couple of months since we haven't done any real public announcement about all the work we're doing. I mean, aside from the swarm of all swarms. So, like Gandalf said, I mean, sometimes you're just coding and you're not documenting much. So I guess it was about time. So some of the recent work we've been working on. So first, we just merged a new blocks page, which you mentioned, Dan, relying on the new API. So one of the ideas behind blocks page is what other block explorers are really doing. And because it provides you with textual data and tabular display about all the blocks that you have processed through the Hive blockchain. So this blocks page has been introduced. It's not available publicly on any on HiveScan or on Explore because the API still needs to be merged. We are currently relying on API 2.syncad, which Gandalf thankfully set up for us. I'm not sure if this will probably make it to the next release, right, Dan? This API endpoint, hopefully.
Yeah. Are you saying you would like it in the next release?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The next release is like this next day or two, right?
Okay, I mean, if it can make it, great. If not, we'll wait.
I guess my question is: are these new API calls or modifications of existing ones?
Yeah, that was the new API call that.
Okay,
that
as long as it's a new API call, I don't
recently.
care, because if it doesn't work, it's no worse off.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's one thing. So the new blocks page, we just did a witness page revamp as well. I was just testing it right now while during the call. So we have a lot of enhancements there, new fields available as part of the witness data. We also just pushed a few days ago a new Hive chart card on the landing page for the Block Explorer. It shows to the left as a card showing the progress of the Hive price. This is completely relying on the blockchain price. So we did not introduce any external API as we discussed. Okay, what else? We recently introduced, as per your suggestion, the financial category filtering for the operation types. So this has also been implemented. So instead of just picking and choosing from the operations filter every type of financial operation, you just click the button and those will be pre-selected for you. Thanks to the recent also work on the balance history API, which we introduced also last month, we implemented a new data points for the history updates. We support larger range. I mean, you can go crazy with how much history you want to go. We have a lot more data points. We have daily, we have weekly, we have monthly. The chart auto scales. So I think this is very beneficial. Now it has come a long way. What else? On the user profile, we added incoming HP delegations also, thanks to a new API endpoint we have. We still need to get the incoming RC delegations, so that's still underway. We also recently implemented API switching functionality where we had the API node and the Block Explorer nodes. So now you have a pop-up that shows you predefined API nodes available that you can actually select or type in your custom one. Jacob actually pinged me today as part of the health checker. I think he's done with some type of an auto switching functionality that would check the different nodes and for latency and probably provide the best node.
Yeah,
So I
that's
haven't
built
looked
into
into
the
it. He did,
health checker.
yeah. So that's a great thing. I'll have a look at it the soonest. Um, and I guess really this is it from our. Oh, actually, I have a new resource working with us on the balance tracker side of things. So he just started last week because the prior resource did not really yield any real result. He worked for a while. We could not get anything useful from him. So the new resource is actually up and running. He set up the environment and he's working much faster than the one before. So hopefully we'll get more work on that end as well. Yeah, I guess this is it really from our side.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else want to go next? Brian, did you have anything you want to talk about today?
No, I'm plugging away, rebuilding my system, so
okay,
internal stuff.
Sounds good.
I would like to go next.
Okay.
So basically, on the ValuePan website, if you go to the swarm of swarms, I've already attached an image that's basically showing that you can now select an onboarder on the ValuePan website. You click on his name, and it will show you all the account usernames and date of that account creation for 2024. And so this way what happens is you have 63,303 that is now showing up on the front end accounts, and you can select on whichever onboarder you want, and you will find out which accounts he has onboarded and the date it was created. Additionally, what we've done is we have also introduced the quality check of the onboarder. Now this is subjective, but how this works is basically we are checking the accounts that have been onboarded, how much Hive they staked. We've taken the data from the site itself, and what it's basically showing, if you were to go to, let me just put the link here so you guys can check it out if you guys want. You head to the onboarding quality, and when you go to the onboarding quality, you can see the top users. So in the case we will take as an example, we're taking Leo Voter. Leo Voter has onboarded 18,531 accounts. From those new accounts that have been created, only 16,193 Hive has been staked from those new accounts. So if I were to make a metric of it, we would divide the Hive stake by the new users over the total accounts created into 100 to get the percentage of the what the quality of the onboarder. This is subjective. It is something that we just came up with. It is not supposed to be a measure of onboarding or how good onboarding is. I'm sure there are plenty of other metrics that are not being considered. But this is just
how often do you update the total Hive vested?
So this was only for 2024. This month we will be working on making it due date, and then it'll update on a daily basis.
Okay, so this was back when it was run. I see. Okay, so you ran on a particular day, and that's from that day.
No, that's the whole of 2024. So you're talking Jan, start of 2024 until the end of 2024.
Okay, so I guess my question is, if they vested, then unvested, then vested again, would that basically say I vested 1,000 HP, 1,000 Hive, and then I powered down, and then I vested another 1,000. Would it show up as 2,000 or is it 1,000?
No, so the repeat users are not being shown. So if there are cases where there are repeat users, we would check if they're unvesting. That user is investing. If he's not investing, then we would add that. So basically, if someone has taken data and is doing 1,000 Hive vested, right? Then he would go back, and then if he's unvesting, then if he vests again, that 1,000 Hive would not be mentioned. We basically cut it out right now. Okay. So if you were to go to the metric that the link I gave, and you go to onboarding quality, you can see down that we have given a full table where we are saying who the creator is, which account it is, and how much Hive they have vested, all right, including which month. So in the month of Jan, you have OCD. I can't attach images here, unfortunately, in Jitsi in the chat, or I would do that. So what would happen from today onwards, we would. Sure, go ahead, Gandalf. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. It's computers are hard. There are like 3 users that I onboarded, and like in January, February, and March, every month 3 users, and at which point it's recorded how much Hive power they have.
Yeah, that's certainly my question too.
Yeah, because they were onboarded in January, but if it shows like current HP that they have, because it changes over time.
Okay, so basically, you would then have to go to 2024, right? And you look at the overall status. So when you go to the overall status, what that would show is if you were to go down a lot, you would have to go to powered up distribution. So powered up distribution would show how much the onboarded accounts have basically for that creator have powered up at the end of 2024. So it takes a collectively powered up and then the powered down data, subtracts it, and then gives you the output.
Yeah,
Now
but
the issue here is we have not done it by user. So we've taken an overall collective result of it and we've shown it like that. What we intend to do is we're going to go down and we're going to make sure that it's going to be clickable. So when you click on the onboard, it will show you the full data of which account has has powered up on which date. Now the powered down data that you're suggesting is very good, and I think that should be shown separately so that is also there instead of collectively trying to show this. I will add that to my list. Is that it? Like that's the feedback I'm getting, right? That you guys want to see powered down information as well.
Well, no, it's about retention. Retention matters. So if there was like I don't know, recognized YouTube influencer who in January 2024 onboarded like 1,000 users and they powered up like 1,000 Hive power each because that was I don't know some marketing
marketing
scheme.
promo.
Yes, and then like just they won those prizes and go away by June. So at the end of 2024, will it show their HP or not? I mean, what I'm interested in is the current Hive power.
Okay, this is very interesting. We'll add this into the list. It doesn't show anything like that right now, but now that you've given this feedback, we'll incorporate it into the front end. It's not that difficult for us to do it.
Okay.
Front end. Is there any other feedback regarding what needs to be added besides the retention measure? Or maybe something about the onboarding quality? Like someone else has any idea how you verify onboarding quality?
Hello, this is Eco. Hi guys. Okay, so you said this phrase, we're cutting them off. That, and I totally, if you could just unpack that. In my head, we would just, every power up is counted and every power down, which you said you would add, and then we got a net on net column. So can you just unpack what cutting them off means?
We're not showing powering down information, basically. That's the only thing. That's basically, if I was talking about powering down, we are cutting that off. We're not showing that information, and that's what we need to show. In like to measure retention, basically, it would not be just showing power down. We have to additionally add more metrics towards calculating retention. So it would be current HP, power down, power up, power down, and current HP of those X users at the end of the date of 2024 December.
Yeah, I think it's clear now what's current and what we're talking about changing. Okay.
Yeah. Anything in terms of onboarding quality? Anyone has any feedback how to measure it, or any other metrics you think that can measure onboarding quality? Please let me know. That is something we would like to add, and it can help the users verify, how good or how effective an onboarding is when they're voting for proposals or when they're, just evaluating any new project when it comes to onboarding. So that covers this particular part, and And additionally to that, we have added the comment counts distribution, like how many comments are basically made by the onboarded accounts. This is one of the ways I have discovered we can discover some kind of people who are being onboarded and are now running bots, right? So I've already passed it on to the relevant people where we have seen anomalies. We've seen post counts, like people who are coming in, being onboarded, who was the creator of the accounts, and how much posts they've been creating. There is abstract and detail, so you can have a look. We have a transfer account outgoing, right? How many outgoing transactions they've made, right? This is just how many outgoing transactions. Then there's incoming transactions, where how many transactions are incoming. This does consider, the Hive engine and the Hive transfers in between. Then we have custom JSONs that were signed with the active key. We have custom JSONs that were signed with the posting key. The posting key is mostly the both the custom JSONs is just basically to check, uh, uh, which which smart contract basically they're using. So most of them are using active key signatures. Just a nice to know information of who's already using what. We got powered up distribution. We've got HPD distribution. Who has the users have used HPD? We have the HP distribution. Across which creator you have the most HP from the user's skill state until the end of 2024. But this is not by user, so we will work on that. Doing it by the user things. This way we will know from the 63,307 accounts how many of them are still with us. Yeah, so that's it from the onboarding perspective. I don't have anything to add besides that.
Okay, anybody else want to talk about anything today? Okay, go for it.
Just because Brian of London is such a humble guy, I just want to say we received his, for the Hive Nectar library, we received some pull requests from Brian of London, which are now integrated, and it's my understanding that he is updating all of his tech with better libraries, and so very much appreciated. I just wanted to shout out Brian of London. I kind of thought he would toot his own horn, but he didn't. So that's all. Thank you, guys.
It wasn't the world's greatest pull request, but it helps. It's good to actually have Beam back in sort of development. I mean, I know Wax is coming, but when you get used to Beam is really fully featured, and once you start to understand it, the thing I really would like to do is try and make more posts explaining how to use it, because that's kind of nobody's done that for years. So I'll see what I can do about that.
Well, I'll mention that we are adding, Beam, it was not updated since some of the new meta. So one of the things we are working on is getting that community metadata and some of the other metadata into Beam. And so not there yet, but look forward to that, anybody who is using Beam still.
Yeah, well, and I can just say that all I did, Nectar is on pip, and I just replaced Beam with Nectar, and it worked pretty much. I didn't have to change anything, and there's a bunch of you guys have already done, which is fantastic. Actually, you've done the time zone aware problem, which was actually a huge problem from the old one. It was just warnings everywhere about not having time zone aware dates. So that actually is a huge help. In fact, I had to turn off a whole load of things that were hiding all the warnings I was getting about time zone aware dates. So thank you for that.
Okay, anybody else, or we call it a day?
No, I've tons of questions. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So basically, the questions are going to be related to what have been discussed here. When we talk about the Block Explorer, a lot, you're talking about the Block Explorer API and everything. The front end for that is Hive Scans. Is that correct?
The front end, if you go look on GitLab, you'll see there's two repos. One is Block Explorer, and the other one's called Block Explorer UI.
Okay.
So the front end is in the Block Explorer UI user interface repo, and so that's just the web server, right? I mean it's the website, so it's a dynamic website, and so there are actually multiple, as far as instances of it that are available to access. There's a bunch of them. And basically soon there'll probably be a lot more, because with the previous release of the Half API node suite, the Block Explorer, while available, wasn't a default application that ran. So most of the API servers don't support the Block Explorer API currently. But with the new release, it becomes a standard part of all the Block API servers. So that's like, 20 different servers now will have the Block Explorer API supported. And it's also, anybody can then run a copy of the Block Explorer UI and have, even, for instance, their own personal Block Explorer or they can, but there'll be a lot more popping up, I suspect, just because it'll be so easy to run them, because all you need to do is run the front end and point it at one of the back ends. So in terms of which ones there are right now, there's Gandalf operates 2, I think, at least, maybe more.
Could I get the names for those, please? Could you type them?
Yeah,
in the
Gandalf,
chat?
can you type them in the chat channel?
Okay. Explore Hive and Hive Scan.
And there's
the
also
ones I'm aware of. There's the explore.openhive.network, and then there's hivescan.info, which we run. I don't know if there's a third one.
Yeah, there's also I'll give you the third one because it's the one I use.
So there is Explore Open Hive Network, and there is also Test Explore Open Hive Network.
Guess which one I
That's
use.
for testing.
Guess which one I
Okay,
use.
that's for testing.
Guess which one I use.
That's for testing. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and also a bunch of
that last one's
development
the best.
The
last one's the best.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, bleeding edge. Yeah.
You get to see the newest stuff right as it comes out.
Okay. So that's for this. Okay.
So I don't know if that was clear, the joke there, but the last one is, and I'm actually kind of serious, it is the one I use. It's the one that's basically built from develop, from the develop branch. So it's we don't point casual users to it, but if you're interested in what's going on, that's the one to look at, because that's the newest code.
Okay, so whenever there's any changes on the Block Explorer, the Text Explorer will be the first one to basically adopt it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, it's actually is that one getting built on the fly? Just whenever someone runs, you just.
No, not every time. Not every
I thought it was when you published it. I thought
as
soon as you. So there's not a publish button that'll just update it.
You gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go to the pipeline and update. I don't always update it whenever we do a merge. I mean, it's every now and then.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of the Block
Can I
Explorer.
jump in and just ask one question? I this is going to sound really terrible, but I only just discovered in the last 3 weeks what the difference between virtual and real operations were. So, which is either my failing or a failing in documentation.
Oh, the names are terrible. So
now I understand them. If anybody else is interested, real are ones that done by a human. Virtual are ones that the chain itself.
Yeah, the names are terrible, to be honest, because virtual operations are not operations at all in some sense, in my opinion. If actually Ethereum named them better, they call them events. So basically, operations are things or operations done by the blockchain. Virtual operations are the results of operations. So operations ultimately lead to, in one form or another, virtual operations, but they're really just effects of they're effects that are created by the blockchain.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One is, how can one? It's partly with the real what Beam calls real operations. With the real ones, you get a transaction ID, but if you get multiple, you can have multiple operations in a single transaction ID, and there's no. Is there a standard canonical way that I can always refer to the same exact unitary operation across any of the block explorers? Now, I mean, I'm doing it at the moment, and it kind of seems to work mostly.
So so what uniquely defines an operation is the transaction it's associated with and its position in that transaction.
Yeah,
I think it's called transaction it's something weird, like I can't remember, transaction and ID or something. I can't remember the name of that.
it's TRX op ID, I think,
Yeah,
in the
okay,
Python
could
code.
be, yeah.
But and that's also base 1. So the first one is counted 1, not from 0, which is kind of
I didn't make
annoying.
any of this up. You can't blame me.
I know. But okay, virtual operations get even more weird. Like the
Yeah,
TRX ID
so they're not
is
in a
always
transaction,
zeros.
right? Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
in. That's because they're not transaction. They aren't part of a transaction. They're literally just effects that happen in that block. Now,
and that their existence is just because we wanted to show that it's happening, because it's implicit happening. Like you create a transaction that I want to power down, and then there are virtual operations every week. They happening even if we didn't decide to put the code that emits virtual operations, so you can like see that you happen to have less Hive power, but it just happened on the blockchain. So virtual operation is like showing you the effect.
Yeah, literally, that's what Ethereum calls them, as events.
Okay, so getting to the practical thing and why I'm talking about it within the blockchain. How, if you want to create a link to a block explorer that shows one of these ethereal things, I think I've got something working, but is there a real way to do it?
You mean you basically need the block. The link is to the block, right? That's
Hive Hub. The Pete D guys, their block explorer. I have figured out a way that if I link to, I think it's sort of block number, then transaction ID, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get to these virtual operations.
Well, the thing is, it's wrong, because you see, actually, there's no guarantee that there's I don't even know if there's a guarantee that it's tied to any transaction at all. I'm not 100%.
It is sometimes, and sometimes
it is sometimes not. Right. So that's what I mean. The only thing you can guarantee that it's tied to is a block.
Yeah. But I think what they do is they put them behind, zeros. All zeros are the producer. Okay. So basically, nobody's really got this. I'm going to dig into this some more and try and write something. But it would be nice to have a way to link to these things. So, like, when someone, like, if you put an order on the internal market, when it gets filled, that's a virtual operation. I'd like to be able to link to that, to all the events that fill it.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I think there's been a thing where you could refer to its position, but I don't know that position is even. I would have to look to see if that's a fixed position for real.
That's even worse scenario here, because he wants to like have a URL that it's common across block explorers.
Yeah, I know what he's asking for. I understand his desire, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea. I think it's a reasonable idea, but
as long as people mimic have block explorer URLs.
Yeah, we'd all have to pick. We'd have to use a standard. We'd have to create a standard for it. No doubt. I mean, that's what I think he's proposing, is creating a standard URL that all the block explorers could use.
I think I'm going to show. I think I've got something working with Hive Hub, and I'll share that. I'll share that in Mattermost tomorrow or something, and we can have a look. And perhaps it can be. We can just use the same one in the new block explorer as well, just so that it's consistent.
Sure. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a very interesting topic, by the way. Now moving on to the next one. The last meeting we discovered about denser, being able to be deployed on Vercel for quick, quick checks or quick shippings, because instead of it's a problem for people to come and create servers and deploy it on servers. For mass testing. So I don't know. Is there any update on that, or is that something that my team will have to take over?
I don't know if I don't even know if we've even worked with Vercel, honestly. Bartek might have had some guys work on it, but I've never used it personally. I mean, right now our primary goal right now is simply to do the release of it. So I know we haven't devoted any resources. I'm pretty sure we haven't devoted any resources to Vercel right now.
That's fine. What we'll do then from my side is we'll take the denser, try to strip it down so that can be worked in Vercel, so we can have a quick and quick deployments for people, for single devs who come in, because Vercel is free. So you just come, you deploy it, and it's done.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something we'll take over. Okay. That covers the denser part of things.
Can
MetaMask.
I just jump in there real quick? I mean, I get there's pros and cons, trade-offs all the way down. We personally don't like Vercel, so like if there's things that we're happy to help host things. That's what Red Hat on Hive is about. So just if pros and cons. Vercel is very good for JavaScript developers. If you like it, if they like it, if it works, use it. But if there's some reason, which I don't want to enumerate here, that you don't want to use Vercel, we are happy to help. Just trying to make that clear, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Mostly when single devs are coming in, when you tell people to come in and try stuff out, they want quick deployments from us testing. So oftentimes, because they want to do it in an isolated environment, they choose to use Vercel, and it's effective. It's very effective, and that's why they basically do that. See, you're seeing JavaScript devs. These aren't just run-of-the-mill JavaScript devs. These are people who have worked on several projects and they want to ship things out. It's not as simple as saying it's not an HTML. It's not like you're creating an HTML and CSS site that is easily deployable. You have a specific backend and you have front end stuff. I'm sure it does. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm sure it does. But if this is a feature that can be incorporated for other users, it will help. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that should be the staple or anything like that. Okay, so I will move on from there. I just want to confirm the B Devs account. I've seen some quality technical content from B Devs. Is that account covered by anyone here?
Yeah, that's BDevs is our team.
Okay, BDevs is a team account. Okay. Team account. So any tech information there I can use?
Yes.
Okay. That case of BDev. For the MetaMask, and this was very, very interesting for me and very confusing as well. When MetaMask does get incorporated, so would there be tie-ins of your user account on Hive with the present account that I have on MetaMask? Will they be linking, or is it like going to be a completely new account for MetaMask? Like what's the end game idea here? I'm not saying now. I'm sure we're pretty much far from it, but like, what's the end game idea?
I guess that's probably a question for Bartek at the moment.
Yes, the idea is that while you are setting your MetaMask wallet, it can generate new public keys, and then during onboarding or integration process, you can select to update your existing Hive account authority and add their generated public keys to your authority. And of course, you can do that by mentioned Hive Bridge service, or you want just to create some new account, and then you can create some link and send it to someone which have already set up Hive account. And this way, in both cases, then you can use MetaMask wallet to operate using Hive account.
And you can do this with an existing MetaMask account as well as a new one.
Okay. So let's have I have an existing MetaMask account, and I use the Hive bridge, and I want to link it to my Spirit Surge account. Let's say, I would then generate new public keys using my MetaMask using the bridge.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. And then any transaction I do on MetaMask will basically follow with those public keys. But on the Hive side, those public keys will never be used or shown anywhere.
Well, public keys will be used and shown everywhere. Like
no. So my MetaMask account itself would be separate from the Hive account, right? It's just bridged together. The action. So let's say if I do an action from my MetaMask account, would that be like? And let's say I've linked my Spirit Surge account. Would the transaction that I have done from my MetaMask show up on the Hive chain as Spirit Surge account? Like that is a transaction executed by Spirit Surge. Would it show up like that? or would it show up separately?
So let's just talk. Let's be sure we're all clear. I think what I've deduced is that we're talking about the same set of keys. So it'll be the same. You'll have the same private keys on both Ethereum and on Hive for this account. But the difference would be, of course, any Ethereum transactions are not going to show up on Hive, and any Hive transactions are not going to show up on Ethereum.
Yes, of course, because MetaMask integrations allows you to explicitly sign transactions in Hive using MetaMask, not to do transactions on Ethereum and share them across blockchains.
Yeah. Okay, so there will be a separate Hive chain, meaning.
So in other words, for example, I hope you will be able soon to use Dancer, and when you will have set up a MetaMask wallet on your computer, you can sign votes and comments in Dancer by using MetaMask, and this way have single place for holding your keys on your machine without one need to use keychain or any other tool. But of course, this is only integration of key storage and signing transactions, which still are specific only to Hive.
Okay. So any transaction that I sign on MetaMask will be on the Hive chain.
No,
is that correct?
No,
or will it be separate?
The idea is your keys. You can use the same set of keys to sign stuff for Hive and on Ethereum and on other things that MetaMask supports. So you have one set of keys.
Actually, this is a set of keys derived from some common seed.
Right.
So
okay, so you can actually
keys are not exactly the same.
Okay,
but
so you do to create a separate set of keys, but they're all from the same seed, basically, is what he's saying.
No, I understand that part. Now, what I'm saying is when I sign a transaction through MetaMask, where is that transaction? Where can I view that transaction? Will it be on Hive?
It depends on where you're signing it. Are you signing it on Hive or are you signing it on Ethereum?
Okay, so let's say there are tons of chains on MetaMask. Will there be a separate Hive chain or MetaMask that will be available once this is done? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, if there will be, then it's fine, because if I'm signing it on Ethereum, then obviously I will go to ETH blockchain. If I'm signing it on Avalanche, then I will go into the Avalanche chain. I get that part. I just wanted to confirm that it was a Hive chain would be there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Really cool.
When I got this it's not actually we've had to apply for this, so there's a process of approval still to finish, but.
Yeah, but it's nice to know that we are like moving towards the future.
Oh yeah. I mean, I assume it won't take long.
I mean, considering that we are working on the Coinbase on one side and working on the MetaMask, so all of this is pretty cool.
Yep.
Okay. I had a question here. MirrorNet for HF28 new rules. I don't know what this question is. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So. You did. So you had a question about the MirrorNet. You said about the date, or about what did you say?
I don't remember. Okay. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So for this is probably the last one I have on my head. The Postgres 18, is it only compatible to work with Ubuntu 25?
No, but it's just the thing is they're adding features well, actually it's ZFS that I'm most interested in. The new version of ZFS has direct IO capabilities, and the new Ubuntu has UI ring or whatever IO ring support. So there's several new IO related capabilities. One is direct writing, which means it bypasses the buffers. ZFS will allow you to directly write to storage and bypass the buffers, which they found out made good speed ups in when you're writing to NVMe's. And the other thing is the IO ring is another thing that helps a lot with writing the NVMe's. So those two features, which are in the newest version of ZFS, which is what we standardly recommend for half, and in the new version of Ubuntu, they're there. And then Postgres 18 is adding support for direct IO. So it's like you got to get all the pieces together that have the capability to get the advanced, get all the speed ups.
Okay.
So it's basically all coming together in September.
Okay, right now on Ubuntu 24.04, are we using Postgres 18 or no?
We're using 17.4 right now.
17.4.
So 18 isn't released yet.
Okay. I just want to confirm that.
Yeah, so that gets released in September.
Okay. Pretty much, I think I've used up all my time for asking questions. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sure, go ahead.
Click the button. Hello. Okay, so maybe I'll transition us now. We have this half rollout. We did a great interview with Block Trades, and we're starting to produce the shorts, integrating into Hive. But I kind of want to get your guys' feedback. Like, I know we're devs in here. I'm not very great at marketing either, but there's people out there that want to. They're excited about stuff. They're excitable. How can we leverage this into an invitation, a wide invitation for developers to come? How do you guys see this possibilities? Like, I'm not at all upset that it's been pushed back a little bit. Like, I feel like this is a really big opportunity, but I'd like to maybe start unpacking how we can take advantage of this incredible stuff that we're rolling out with Half, so that people can build better applications and even build some half applications, for new people to come and build their user applications.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I haven't been pushing for any of this because I did want to kind of get out. We made a fairly big changes to Half in this release in terms of the interface that devs will see. Basically, the event loop that processes blocks was changed quite a bit. So that's part of the reason that I haven't wanted to push for a lot of development effort, because it was all about the change. And of course, it took longer than expected, as these things always do. Similar reasons, we just kind of we haven't actually officially even released Waxed yet, although we've been using it internally for quite a long time now. And so we've been trying to get everything to a state where it's all really nice and packaged and well documented, and then start pushing, more users to use it, more devs to use it. So that's kind of been I think the blocker has just been getting it all into a good state where people won't run into a lot of problems when they start. So that has been the big barrier, has been completing the work and documenting it. But after that, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to do the marketing.
Is this something that I should put together? I mean, we have time.
Sure.
I agree
if you want to help,
with
if
what
you want to
said.
help with marketing, the dev stuff, that would be great. We'd love to have somebody do that.
Well, I totally believe that, and I believe it's coherent with everything we've said, that this is what we need to do. We need to make it simpler, lower the bar, and so I feel like you guys have done some great work. And again, this is something that I'm happy to help on before we're ready, so that when we're ready, you get the excitable people that don't know about all the details but are very excitable to help us, invite. So if this is a space where there's, value to add, we're happy to look into it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, anyone else?
From a marketing perspective, I would like to add, there are tons of great tools you guys we have on Hive here. I would highly encourage, even though they are not in a complete format, that we all should start preparing to market it. The marketing plan, like, it takes time to build up. We can start working on it now, so that by the time the stuff is ready, we can ready to push it out. Push it out as soon as it's hot. And that's
Yeah.
the for baking.
Sounds like a great idea. Okay, I'm gonna call it a day then, I guess. See you guys.
Okay, thank you. See you.
Okay, bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.